Hey folks, Vaughn Scow here with you again, and I just gotta say, ain't it great to be in the presence of such awesome sweet tone? You know, when nothing's going your way, ain't nothing gonna fix the situation quite like good tone. Save yourself the money, don't go to shrinks, buy a vintage amplifier. The good tone will last long after their help has faded away. Okay, having said that, what are we gonna do today? I said I'm drinking tea today, so possibly I should use my fake English accent. It wasn't a hit in the past, so I'm gonna go with no on that one. However, to you out there, I will say cheers and cheerio. Now then, we are gonna do a shootout between my very favorite. This 67 Super has been my favorite amp for about as long as I've owned her. She's sweet, man. Seriously sweet. She makes some crazy noises every now and then, as good old tube amps will, but she is still intensely toneful to the max, okay? And because of the fact that she's my old sweetheart, I am going to give her the tone-enhancing cup, okay? But first... Okay, there we go. Okay. Yep, so I'm being a little unfair there, right? Tell you what, our contenders are, this is a 67, by the way. Our contenders are a pair of Lab Series. This is the Lab Series L9 here, and this baby has the original factory EVM 15L 15-inch driver in it, okay? This speaker came to me exactly as it is, or this amp came to me exactly as it is with that speaker. All it needed was a bunch of cleaning up, and I believe I bought it for $150 on Craigslist. Okay, so over here we have the L7, probably the coolest and the rarest of all Lab Series. This is the 410 model, just like my beautiful 410 Super. Okay, this one was really bizarre, man. I got it practically free because it was blown, or so they told me. The truth is it actually had not one, not two, not even three, but all four speakers blown, if you can believe that, okay? It's now sporting a quad of the WGS Veteran 10s. Probably, beyond the shadow of a doubt, the WGS G10s would have been awesome and sounded better in this amp, but the truth is I wanted to make it as lightweight as possible, and so that's why I went with the Vet 10s. They're great sounding little speakers, and they're lightweight. Before I get up off the floor, I will say, oh, by the way, I'm just using, all you're going to be hearing on these amps is this pair of AKG 451s, and I know you can't hear me very loud. That's because I'm not as loud as these guys are, and they're set for the amps. But I'm just using the 451s in an XY stereo pattern. That's all you're going to be hearing of the amps. But I did want to mention once again, in case you've missed it, the guitar we're going to be using is my... this is actually a 62 reissue Strat. It came to me already pretty bastardized, and I just kept going with it. It does, in fact, have both a humbucker pickup in the bridge and the neck position, the Seymour Duncan hot rails, and the Seymour Duncan little 59, or I'm sorry, a mini humbucker, a mini 59, in addition to single coil pickup. So it's got lots and lots and lots of tonal versatility here going on. Okay, so, shall we, I say, get her going, shall we? I think we will. I'm going to be off camera for this one because, after all, I know it's really the amps you want to see, right? So... Okay. We got all three of these boogers fired up for you now. And I've done everything I can to make the tones just as totally dead on as they can be. I'm going to start out on my favorite clean sound, which is actually between the neck and the middle pickup. And I'm going to start on the Super, okay? So this is the Super. go to the 410, L7. That's the L7. And that's the Super. Man, if you can't tell it, they're both seriously, seriously, seriously sweet. Tell you what, I'm going to switch between the Super right now and the L9, doing that same thing. To the L9. That's the L9. And that's a Super. Okay, so there you can tell a little bit more difference because, of course, we're comparing a 15-inch to a pair of, or to a quad of 10s. I'll tell you what, let's go back. I'm back on the Super, and now I'm down between the bridge pickup and the middle pickup, doing that stuff. Okay. To the L7. Wow. Man, I had to get my head right down there and like figure out what I was listening to because I almost couldn't tell. Now, I will tell you, by the way, I have like totally tweaked, the Lab series a lot to get them to sound, as Super-esque as I can, okay? Because personally, the Blackface Fender Super Reverb, as far as I'm concerned, is the holy grail of tone. I like nothing better. Okay? So again, here's a Super. This is the L7. Super. Okay, now a little bit on the old L9. Starting with the Fender again. Okay, now I'm just way on down on the bridge pickup and going back to the Super. Lab Series. I'm going to switch from the Lab Series to the Super here. Okay, now let's go from the Super to the L9. Yeah, the L9 rocks on that stuff, man. Totally rocks. Tell you what, just for the fun of it, I'm going to go up to the neck humbucker for a minute and do some like. That's a Super. That's the L9. Super again. And that's the L7. Okay, so L9 is kind of our winner for big, bold, clean tones, whether it's on the neck or the bridge. And honestly, yeah, kind of knew that. Okay, so now let's go for some like Stevie Ray Vaughan moderate gain stuff, starting with the Super. To the L7. That's the L7. And the Super. Tell you what, let's go between the Super and the L9 on that stuff now. To the L9. Okay, so the L9 is definitely a lot sort of more in your face in the in the upper mids in the like the 2.5K range on that. I tell you what, actually let's just do this, by the way. That distortion, by the way, is coming from a Bad Monkey, which is basically a tube screamer pedal. I'm gonna go on the bridge pickup, the bridge humbucker, and just do like. Okay, so that's the Super. And I'm going to go to the L7. Back to the Super. Those babies are close. Oh, I have not done the L9 yet, have I? That's the Super. the L9. That is seriously, man. I mean, totally world-class giggable tone. Okay, so now I'm going to go on something that is actually like a really high-gain tube screamer thing, just a little bit. This is sort of like a JCM 800, 900 kind of deal here. That is a Super, by the way. To the L7. Again, man, seriously close. Let's do I'll do Super again and then switch over to the L9 for just a minute. Okay, I like the way and I switched back to the Super there at the end. I like the way the Super responds better for sure there. It's just, I don't know, the L9 maybe just a little bit kind of harsh and stiff in the top end, probably because of that big 15-inch EVL, which, by the way, can hold really together big time when it's clean. So, okay, the last thing I'm going to do is actually do a Boss. It's the overdrive distortion, the OS2, which is part overdrive and part super distortion, and I've got it set almost entirely on the distortion setting. So this is really a lot more distortion than it is overdrive. And I'm going to start again on the Super here. This is like. Ah, there we go. I knew something was wrong with that pedal. This is like, oh, this is the way I do American Woman, by the way. Let's go to the L7. That's the L7 still. And that is the Super. I'm going to switch real fast between the Super and the L7, starting with the Super. Okay, so for the record, I like the L7 better on that. The Super with its little extra bit of brightness is almost kind of fizzy. So let's do that between the Super and the L9, and then I think we're going to poke a fork in this baby and call her done. Shall we? Super! change, starting with the L9. That's a super. And that was the L9. Okay, man, we're going to call this sucker done. What do you think? Okay, so now, wow, I feel like Brooke Shields or something. So, okay, sorry. So there you go, man. I tell you what, I don't know about you guys, but I have decided that the Lab Series amps are seriously the sleeper amp that you can find right now. Look on Craigslist. Man, these things are around all over for under, say, $500, maybe even under $400. The one thing that I can tell you, the Lab Series absolutely will blow the Super away at is just sheer volume. The Super is a 40-watt rated amp, and it definitely is starting to get real juicy by the time you're at, like, you know, regular club level, right? I mean, it's already starting to get that whole tube cool thing going. The Lab Series really can get a pretty nice juicy tube amp thing going just, you know, with the input gain. But the thing the Lab Series can also do, they are a full-on, real, honest-to-God 100-watt amp rated the way, say, for instance, a vintage Marshall is rated. And what that means is that these little boogers can actually stay really as clean as you want up to incredible stage volumes. So they really are frickin' amazing amps. Back in the day, man, when these guys were selling in the stores new, I remember they were selling for, you know, for like $1,000 in like $1978. So none of us could afford them back then. Well, guess what, children? You can afford them now. So the world is awesome. I don't know if you can see, there's a little bit of a Christmas tree. It's Christmas time as I'm doing this. So if it's Christmas time as you're watching this, do yourself a favor and go out and buy one of these guys for you or maybe for that loved one musician that's on your Christmas list. I'm going to use my handy dandy little remote right now to say goodbye to you all. So goodbye, y'all.